I transitioned into like the adult dentist after turning 18.
There's an adult dentist.
Whatever we want to call them.
So there's a kid's dentist and then there's an adult dentist.
Kids dentist and adult dentist.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the dentist is, we don't even need to put this in. Why are we talking about the dentist still?
It's content for our viewers and our listeners.
Oh my gosh, the dentist. Oh.
It's Friday.
And welcome to our second episode of Pioneer Careers Podcast.
We're already on number 2.
We're already on number 2.
Only number 2.
And I'm so excited because we have a special guest joining us today.
We're not going to tell you right now.
Not right now, but you got to stay tuned to hear really the spice.
Yeah, because he has a lot of titles, so I have to remember them. I don't remember them right now.
So Kenny, how was your first week getting back into school?
Oh, girl. It's been great. Well, okay, so it's been great because I love that the students are back. The summer has been really slow, and this is like the first semester. I really think since the pandemic that we have that true in-person kind of college feel, since the spring of 2020.
Wow, that's been a while.
And you graduated in the spring from high school.
In 2020.
How do you feel about that?
It's really weird. It's odd. COVID was such an important part of everyone's life because it affected everyone in different ways. But I think that now that it's going to be like the fall 2023, everything does feel like college-y, what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's been a good week, though, overall. Like, I've loved being back. I've been camping out in Village Park, like, every day.
It's been a nice week.
I just love it.
Yeah. So this week has been kind of hectic for me because Monday I had a dentist appointment. We all love the dentist, right?
The dentist is just an interesting place to be.
It's a very interesting place. I hated the dentist when I was younger, but then I grew to love it because, okay, so when I was younger, I never took care of my teeth, and I have a lot of fillings. So I hated the dentist because they always had to, like, numb me, and I hated being numb. But I grew to love it because I started to, take care of my teeth. I got braces, and I was like, I really need to take care of them because my dad paid a lot of money for them. Well, Monday I had to get a filling repaired from my childhood because I didn't take care of my teeth, and I had to be numb again, and my teeth hurt right now.
Like, you're in pain right now.
So the first week, on top of it being hectic, but I'm glad the students are back, my teeth hurt. I feel like my hair's not cooperating today.
Your hair looks great.
Does it? Are you just saying that? Are you being nice?
No, I wouldn't just say that. No, for real, it looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like the headphones are messing it up.
No, I mean, I just plop these on my hair and just call
okay,
it.
Taylor Swift. So this week, so you've been in Village Park, right? It's been a nice week. Are you ready for the semester?
I am ready. I am 100% ready. Everything's not going to start until probably the third week of school.
Yeah.
That's when track starts, UView, and just getting back in the grind. So it's been really nice to just sit in Village Park, do my homework, and just have that time for myself. I have loved it. And I've been able to socialize with a lot of, like, my friends in Village Park. Yeah. So that's, like, the best part, I think, sitting there is just seeing everyone.
The weather's still nice before... you'll have those crisp fall mornings, which I'm so excited about. You'll have the leaves on the ground that you can kind of, like... One thing that I love to do is step on the leaves and it, like, crunches. I don't know why.
It's so satisfying.
It's like one of those OCD or ADHD things that I have that's undiagnosed, And it's just like ASMR satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah, ASMR.
It's the best. It really is. So have you been adjusting well, would you say? Or has it taken you a couple of days to adjust to being back with students and in the school environment?
I'm trying to think. It's been interesting, to say the least. There's a lot more people on campus. And not saying I'm not a people person, but just really getting back into the swing of things and trying to get into that mindset. Okay, this is a new school year. It's going to be busier than ever. I'm going to be here 5 days a week. That's a new adjustment. And I'm excited to see what the future holds and to see how the students react, to see the seniors graduate, because you mentioned last episode that you're part of the first COVID class to really come here at Point Park.
It's definitely a transition for everyone. I think not only me, but other students that are, like, in the same boat. Everyone's definitely happier this year with everything being pretty much normal for a college student. So
Yeah, we'll put normal in,
normal,
in
normal,
quotations.
normal.
What is normal to you?
Normal to me is being able to talk to everyone without masks.
Yeah.
Just being not how it was before COVID, because I think COVID happened for a reason in the base of like our world needed to become more sanitary, needed to worry about things that we didn't worry about before. Like touching things and then not washing your hands before you eat. Those are like basic things that some people do know and then others just never knew. So I think that taking those things from COVID and now applying it to this time is great. And like we see hand sanitizer stations everywhere. So I like that part.
Yeah.
But just normal is being able to socialize, being around people, and not having to worry about getting sick.
So it's kind of like a new normal, a new beginning, which we kind of touched upon last episode. And we kind of targeted those freshmen a little bit. It's a new transition, going from high school to college. But now we're kind of going to get into, another new beginning for a lot of other people. We're a week into the school year. Next week, Labor Day, kind of a thing. We have Monday off, I think.
I know. I'm excited for Monday.
I'm excited just to have off. 4-day week.
I'm excited.
3-day weekend. And, that's kind of like that last hoorah, before the fall, summer's coming to an end, and get into those fall activities. Taylor Swift's new album, not new album, but re-recorded, is coming out.
I'm excited.
2 days after my birthday.
Ooh, birthday present.
Little surprise for you guys. We might have a bonus episode in October about her new 1989 album.
So stay tuned for that because we're about to get Swiftie in here.
Gonna get Swiftie.
I want to actually touch back on what you were saying about how you're looking forward to the 3-day weekend. So one thing that we are going to touch on is, kind of the new beginning of starting things and starting the new beginning in your story with joining clubs, certain things that you're interested in, not even just with Point Park, but outside of school as well. So what do you recommend to students for kind of getting that jump start into starting something new?
Oh, that's a great question. Kind of putting me on the spot, and I love it. I would say, don't be afraid to go out of your comfort zone, right? We talked about this last episode. I'm a very introverted person, and I don't like to go out of my comfort zone unless it's really warranted or I'm kind of forced to. Given, presentations, I hate public speaking. I don't know why I'm doing this right now.
Yeah, but you're doing amazing.
Thanks for the reassurance.
No, you are doing amazing.
Thank you.
I'm an honest person. Like, you're doing great.
I love that. Thank you. But I'm trying, and I think a tidbit that I could give to students is don't be afraid to go out of your comfort zone. Because if you stay in that, how do I want to describe it? That little box that you're used to, I feel like you won't grow as a person.
It's true.
So if you test those boundaries within yourself, you'll grow as a person. And throughout your journey here at Point Park, you'll find, connecting with different departments, connecting with different organizations on campus, but also you're in the heart of downtown Pittsburgh. You're in an urban setting. There are so many community partners that you might find interest in. Once you feel comfortable and you feel you want to branch out and be like, yeah, I can do this. I want to connect with the local community partners, nonprofit organizations, and help them. The world is your oyster, pretty much, I'd say.
Yeah.
Take it. What did we say last time? The windy winds.
The windy winds. Go with the flow of the windy winds.
Wherever the wind takes you, We're not in Kansas anymore.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think one thing I wanted to touch on is pretty much when you go to school, at least at Point Park, I think it's different at other schools because you're more in like you're either like in an actual campus or even if you're in a different city campus like Duquesne, Pitt.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You have more of like a campus. And I think the benefit of going to like an urban school like Point Park, like downtown, is that you have a mix of being an adult, being on your own, but also still being a college student so you can transition easier in that sense. I mean, for me personally, I feel like I have been able to be on my own, feel like an adult, but also I'm still in college. So I've been able to, build my career even starting in college.
Our word of the last podcast was independency. we didn't know if that was a word, but independency. Well, we can just say your sense of independence. But that independency, quote unquote, is what you're kind of talking about.
Yeah.
And as you kind of, went through your college journey, you discovered that, and you kind of embraced that, I would say.
Yeah. And I think it's up to you. It's your choice if you want to embrace having independence or not. You can do what you want. But like Kenny was saying, like you were saying, getting out of your comfort zone is the number one thing to get that independence. Like truly embracing the independence that being at Point Park gives you.
Yeah. There's so many opportunities here for you at Point Park. Use them to your advantage. They're here for you. The departments, the organizations, downtown Pittsburgh. You have so many options here in Pittsburgh. It's just
take advantage of it.
Yes, take advantage. It's sometimes overwhelming to think about, but connect with your friends, faculty, and everything. Because
if you went to a campus in the middle of nowhere, you would not have the resources that Pittsburgh and Point Park gives you. You just don't have it at your fingertips. And here you have the opportunity to take those and run with it. So
go with the windy wind.
Go with the windy wind. Go with the flow and do what you feel is right. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling kind of excited.
Same.
Why are you excited?
I'm excited because we have a very, very special guest today on our show.
Do you think we should bring them on?
I think we should bring them on.
Well, we have Marc Palombo, who is the SGA President and acting major, also a senior, right?
How's it going, guys?
How's it going?
Welcome.
Good to see you. Good to see you both. Good to see you both.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it.
I'm so excited that you're on.
Thank you.
And I can't believe I'm really just meeting you for the first time after being at Point Park for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
Can you kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and like how you started getting involved with acting and theater?
Sure. Well, when I was a senior in high school, I was going to go to Penn State for business, and that was my plan for a long time.
Wow.
But I was getting things from Point Park like all the time in the mail. And I said,
come here.
Yeah, and I did theater in high school, so I said, okay, I'll just audition. And I auditioned for the acting program, and I somehow got in. So
Wow.
It changed the course of my trajectory a lot, and now I'm here 4 years later.
Wow. And guess what? We were just talking that you got to go with the flow, and that's
the windy wind.
What you did.
Yeah.
You went with the flow and you found like a passion.
Hmm?
That's amazing. I love that.
So speaking of passions, I know that you're the SGA president.
This is true.
What got you involved in SGA in the first place?
Well, like I said, I was gonna go for business, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I have the entrepreneurial side to me. And my freshman year here was in 2019. Actually, I should have graduated last year, but I took a gap year during COVID. But my freshman year here, I joined student government because I always had like a passion for making change or being a part of like a community, and like building connections. So I joined then, but I was commuting, so it was very hard to be involved. But I still was able to go to the meetings and meet new people, and that's kind of what I did the first 2 years for the most part. I met a lot of people, learned kind of how Point Park operates, and it was a good experience for where I'm at now in gearing up for that. And my junior and senior year, I got way more involved, where I started the Point Park Chess Club. We meet Mondays at 12 to 5.
You guys got
in
award.
Village Park.
Come on, free promotion.
Yeah, I know.
An award. You got an award last year.
Oh yes. Chess Club did win Best New Student Organization. Yeah,
Look at you.
Let's
All
go.
right, so.
Representing.
Well, hey, we have stats. I mean, people come to the chess club. Anyways, besides the point. My junior and senior year, I did a lot more in student government. We worked on bus passes for years, and finally we have that. And I'm not the sole person to have gotten that. Our former president, Kendra Summers, went to Port Authority meetings, and even the past 30 years in student government, you might not realize we have records of each organization at the time, each administration working on getting this. So
you have the receipts.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Incredible.
So like, student government has been around since like I don't even know, 60, 50, I don't know. It's almost as long as the university. So I have a lot of passion for a lot of different things, so it's always hard for me to rein in sometimes. But as long as I have a focus and a vision, I can get stuff done, and that's kind of what I plan to do. And that's kind of how I try to live my life.
So focus and vision.
I love that.
Oh, yeah, and goals.
Talk about one of them.
Personally or like in student government?
Let's do student government.
Okay.
And then you can do personally if you
Sure,
want.
yeah. In student government, the main issues we've had in the past was that we didn't really have any goals or visions. We had ideas. We had things we were passionate about and wanted to accomplish. But if we didn't have that set focus as a team, because when you talk about as a team and a collective, you have to be able to delegate tasks to people, and everyone has to be in agreement on what you're doing.
Yep.
So if you're not in agreement on that, then everyone's going to be scatterbrained and nothing will get done. And that's kind of what's happened the past couple of years. So myself and Trevor Fitzsimmons, the vice president of SGA, put together, along with Dean helped us out a lot with this. We did a visioning exercise.
Shout out Dean, my supervisor.
Thanks,
Seriously, Dean, I was really, really grateful for Dean reached out to me too, because we had a newsletter that went out just telling like what we've been doing over the summer and things like that. And he reached out, and I very much appreciate it now, because we have a very clear vision on what we want to do and how we're going to implement it. So, for example, for COPA specifically, so we have one main goal for each school, 3 internal goals SGA wants to accomplish, and 3 university-wide goals. Now, are we going to get those all done? Maybe it's possible, but in being realistic, maybe if we even get 2 or 3 of those things done, that's still a major win.
Yeah.
So, at least for COPA specifically, we're working on recording rights. So in the theater department, when you do shows and stuff, when you're out of here, what do you have to show people in a real format? So people have done amazing work in the Playhouse. Why don't we allow them the opportunity to take the footage, a professional footage, and use it for their reels? There's issues with that. The actual recording rights of it, like purchasing that. Then you have to deal with like the actual orchestra and paying them individually. So there's issues with that. Wow. But the way we're trying to format things, and we are creating proposals and resolutions to bring towards President Bruce Allis and other deans of the school, is that we understand what administration looks for. They look for retention. They look for enrollment. So we're formatting a lot of these proposals in a way where it will make the university money, and it will, though. It's not. We're not lying. It's truthful still. So I think a lot of administration and other faculty member and staff are going to be more open to these ideas and even the students and vision we have because of how we're presenting it and the actual research and data we're collecting to present this information. So that's one of the goals.
Wow.
There's many other
Just
ones.
one.
But yes, yeah.
I'm excited to see what SGA has for this school year. And I appreciate, as a staff member here at Point Park, the outreach that you have done already, even in the summer, leading up to the school year. And I'm excited to see how you represent the student body, because I know maybe some of them don't feel seen or heard. So I'm really excited to see what you can do this school year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, right now we're having the elections happening. So currently, SGA doesn't really function until we have our legislative body. We currently only have 2 senators right now because of many issues that have happened in the past couple of years. And that means we have 22 open slots.
Oh my
and
gosh.
if anyone is watching this podcast right now that would like to be a part of student government or would like to make a change here at the university, you can join.
Natalea.
Oh gosh, why is it calling my name?
No, seriously. I mean, like, also, we have main goals and things we focus on.
Yeah.
But aside from that, for you, example,
Yeah.
you do broadcasting, right? And marketing. You can focus on that in student government and have a passion for that. Even whether you're a senior, freshman, sophomore, I don't care. We have our main goals, and you can help us, but you can also follow what you're passionate about. So it's not all just paperwork and that stuff. Yes, some things are a part of that, but it's all about building a community, having outreach, and making sure that you're happy with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the elections are from the 11th to the 15th if you would like to vote. And if you would like, you can go to SGA_PPU and click our link in our bio, and you can run as a senator.
Awesome.
I love that.
That's awesome. So I know before you were kind of talking about how you can have ideas with things that you do, but if you don't have a vision, then what's the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you, what do you recommend to students that are trying to get involved with some stuff at the school, or they want to start stuff on their own? Like, how do you recommend trying to get that vision and turning it from ideas into vision?
Yeah. I think the main thing that I do that I do it so often now, is get a piece of paper, get a notebook, get a pencil,
Yep.
make a list. Make a list of your own goals personally, and if you're in an organization, the organization's goals. How many events are we going to do? Plan a calendar out. Have your events all planned out. For example, Joey Bova, he's our communications
Yeah, Bova
director.
dog. He's one of my good friends.
He's fantastic. He's our communications director, and I picked him specifically because I know his work ethic and I know his reach with not only the athletic department but the theater department as well. So he's very well versed, and he's also does photography and marketing. So overall, when you're trying to figure out your vision and your goal, you just have to write things down. Here's something I would recommend. Even if you don't know what to write down, set a timer for like 3 minutes and just write down things you're passionate about, things you like, things you want to do. Write them down. Keep going. Don't stop. When the timer's up, look through all of them. See what you really want to do. Circle them. And then have a whole nother sheet where you really, really hone in and pinpoint on what you exactly want to do.
Yep.
And then you can go from there. And also talk to other people. When you're alone, sometimes you only have your thoughts, and that could be good sometimes. But when you're talking to people like this, you can think of a lot more things and collaborate that way.
Yep.
I love collaboration. It's how you conjure things up and you think of things. When I'm talking right now, I bet you're all thinking of other things to say right now because you're like, oh my gosh, that's right, and there's this and that. So I hope that answers that one.
That answered it 100%. I think the simplest thing of getting a notebook, a pen, and writing down everything that you think, every idea that comes into your head, and then you can somehow get everything together and get that vision. So
Even on a daily basis, because right now I said I'm going to go do it again because I'm already getting scatterbrained again because even though I have like those big overarching goals, on a daily or weekly basis, things change. Like this podcast or other things come up where you like, okay, you have to prioritize again. And I love the visioning exercise. Again, I have to go back to Dean because he showed me that there's immediate things that need to get done, and then there's important things.
Yep.
Decipher between that. Because sometimes everything's important. We all know that. But what is immediate right now? What needs to be in a now? So being able to decipher that, I think, is a very big differentiator between being successful and not.
One thing you mentioned earlier was collaborating with others, which I think is huge because that's how you kind of feed off of one another, and you might create something bigger than you ever even imagined.
Yeah.
Now, there are some students here at Point Park who, earlier in the episode we talked about getting out of your comfort zone. Some students might have trouble with that. They might feel scared, It's scary because going out of your comfort zone, getting out of that box, it's very challenging for some people. What advice or, suggestions do you have for students who might be feeling like that to, step out of that box a little bit, maybe just one step at a time? No pun intended.
Yeah, no, it's really funny you say that because, as an acting major and an actor, we have to step out of that box all the time. Our main superpowers as an actor is, one, being vulnerable, two, the power of fantasy that we have, and being a provocateur, which is being the power to provoke, how to being able to provoke in others or ourselves. So I step out of that box all the time when in auditions or in a play or whatever I'm doing. It's very risky to step out of that box and put yourself out there.
Be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's
so difficult.
It's hard. It's very difficult.
So very.
To let your guard down, because then it opens yourself up to criticism and things, and that can affect you. But if you do it on your own terms, it's a little much here, but if you come to terms with yourself, with your own vulnerability, other people can't hurt you. Other people can make you vulnerable. Hey, that shirt's stupid.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah.
Before this,
Like that shirt,
do you like this
that's
shirt?
a weird color. Why are you wearing that?
Yeah.
You see what I'm doing? I'm making you feel a certain way. Possibly, maybe you're not. But
maybe.
In a way, though, if you are comfortable with yourself, then it might be easier for you to be able to explore. Now, if you're a freshman coming in or something like that, my main thing I would say is, if you have roommates, find people that you trust, talk to them, and don't be alone. You know, always if you're in Village Park and you're really kind of scared, you don't want to sit there only because it's maybe awkward for you. Have a friend with you, or one or two. And if you don't have any friends, I'll be your friend. Please, trust me. I'm always willing to have I just had a coffee with a freshman who was a commuter, and they're very nervous about starting the year because they want to be involved, but they don't know how. Yeah. And I was telling them, you know, it's not easy, but it's how you manage your time and figure out what's important to you. Like, it goes back to what's immediate and what's important. Like, there's things that constantly come back to you. Yep. You know, we could say these things, they can go out in the air, but if something's important, it will continually come back to you, or you'll go to it. And also, at least for organizations, on a standpoint, and especially now, the Student Organization Fair is happening on this Tuesday from 1 to 5 in Village Park in Lawrence Hall Ballroom, and I think in the second floor of Lawrence. And that might be a good opportunity for any student who would like to get involved but doesn't know how. Yeah. And they can see a lot of different clubs, a lot of different affinity groups, anything that might catch your eye. You might find your home with a group instead of being alone. It's a very hard question. Yeah. I've always been an outgoing person, so I feel like it's easier for me in a way, but like I always get nervous still sometimes or self-conscious. But it's risky, and I understand that. So I think just finding the people that you trust and going from there.
I like how you said, Kenny, at the beginning, you were kind of saying how it's okay to take those steps. So if you see something for yourself and you want to go do something, it's okay to take step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 to get there. Absolutely. It doesn't all have to be at the same time to get to where you want to go.
I don't even think that's possible.
Yeah, no, everything
is
is
so overwhelming to think about.
It's
just doing it all at one time.
And going back to the actual like steps I was saying about writing stuff down, if once you write that goal down, inside that goal there's 5 more steps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Saying, or even as simply as email this person or go to this office.
I find myself doing that all the time.
I write down the littlest things. Yep.
But then you're more likely to do it because these are more actionable steps you can take to get to your goal. Yeah. So I know sometimes the big overarching goals can seem scary because, like, how do you get there? Get specific. Specificity, very important when you talk about goals and setting a vision.
Yeah, every day I make a to-do list. So I put everything, the littlest things, email this person, text back, make sure that my communication is there, because everything is about communication with everything that you do. So I just always like making sure that I am ready for everything each day, and I have, a list of checking it off, and it feels great when it's done.
Do you do it on your phone, or do you write?
I do it on my phone.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do it. I mean, I also do it on my phone for certain things too. I would like to use pencil more, but it's so much easier sometimes. It is,
because you can just pull it out whenever you want to.
Yeah.
We're habit of creatures of convenience, and phones are always convenient for us. So, but if you do it on a pen and paper, I don't know if studies have shown this, so do not quote me, but it lasts in your brain longer, and it makes you. Oh, you believe me?
I do.
Do you?
No, that's 100%.
No, I really do believe it.
No, that has to be true,
because you're doing an actionable thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's different.
Instead of
different
just,
than typing. Yeah. Typing's like, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you write it down and you see what you're doing, you're going to remember that you did that action, and then you're going to be like, oh, okay. It's going to stick in your mind longer. It's the same with like note taking and studying.
Yeah.
So
it's true.
I actually carry mini notebooks around with me because I think they're cute.
The mini notepads,
yeah,
like with fun designs.
Oh yeah. Well, like I have
the ones from Target.
No, I actually
Target.
I like minimalism too, so I have these like a little notebook that's like yellow, and I just open it up and I write things in it. I write constantly. Before, when I was a freshman and a sophomore, mostly freshman though, I barely wrote anything down. But then I realized, wait a minute, especially for like being an actor. I guess this would take place in any other major, but I'm going to forget what I just learned in that class if I don't write it down. Yep. So I'm like, oh gosh, I better start writing things down. So I write constantly, and I actually love to reflect often. So
I love that.
Not only would it stay in my mind more, but the more you see that and you have multiple occurrences of seeing that, it's almost like sleeping on something. When I'm memorizing something for a play or a musical, I love to do it right before I go to bed, because it's very fresh in my mind.
I have a funny story about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not funny.
It's fine. I bet it's very funny.
I was a psychology major in undergrad, and we learned about memory consolidation. And it's been proven if you study right before sleep, you are more likely to remember what you studied because of that memory consolidation, because then it goes into long-term memory when you're sleeping, and then you wake up, and it's not going to like always happen, but it's more likely that information that you learned right before you slept or went to sleep, you're going to remember it, and it's going to come to you. I don't know why. It's the neurons, it's the synapses, it's the science, but it happens.
I was in
Did that ever happen to you?
Well, I was in an acting class. Actually,
Oh, really?
Yes, it was.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Introduction to acting. It was like the acting 101. I had to take it for one of my major.
Do you remember your teacher?
Paul Reynolds. It was just in the spring. It was an elective, and all the other electives like didn't have an interest in me, and I wanted to take this. It was at 8 a.m. though. I woke up. I still woke up for class and everything. But one thing that was hard for me was kind of getting out of my comfort zone in that way, because I'm used to like being on camera for broadcasting, being myself, but trying to be a different character was out of my comfort zone personally. I didn't know if I would.
Fascinating.
You know what I mean? Isn't that weird? But I would memorize my stuff for my acting class kind of right before bed like that, and
that's so opposite for me, because when I did I had to give a convocation speech for all the freshmen, and I said,
I was there.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. and I said, this is weird for me. This is different because I'm usually on stage playing a character. One of the main teachers we have is Konstantin Stanislavski, and he's taught something we learn a lot, and he says that you are the character. You are you plus the character. So you never turn into something completely else. It's always you. You always bring something to the character.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it was weird to just be me talking on stage with like not being something. It was just different.
That's crazy how it's like flipped.
Yeah, I know. That's
I'm
why
used
I
to
had
being
to mention
myself
that.
on camera, but you're used to being like playing a different character.
Yeah.
Like you're still bringing what you said. Like you're still bringing yourself to a character, but that's kind of crazy.
Isn't it fascinating?
Yeah, that's cool.
You reminded me of that.
That's cool.
Well, Marc, it was amazing having you today.
Thank you so much.
For coming
Thank you so much
on.
for all the information you provided. If there was one thing to leave us with, freshmen, students, just anything, about sense of belonging, getting involved, maybe a new beginning or transition, what do you want to say? What's your lasting words?
Well, I will say what I said in my convocation speech, if anyone missed it. I said 3 things that I think everyone should do. If you're, I don't care where you are in your journey. You have to challenge yourself. You have to constantly challenge yourself to get what you want done, figure out what you want to do, and to make any forward progress. 2, you are going to make mistakes, and that is okay. That is a part of the process. That is how you learn. I am constantly making mistakes every day. Like I missed our meeting.
You were fine.
I was like, oh gosh.
You're a busy man.
Yeah, but it's also like writing a list. So. And be okay with making mistakes, because that is how you learn, and it's how you take those mistakes and make them useful to yourself.
Yep.
And 3, the opportunities that come your way, take them. Accept them. Now, of course, maybe not all opportunities, but overall, if an opportunity comes your way, don't say no, say yes. And even if you're scared about it, because right on the other side of that line, you will feel so much better. You'll feel like you accomplished something. It's almost like a high in a way. Some people can get that. But hopefully those lessons will maybe inspire some of you. You could take it either in your Point Park journey or beyond, because people will be using those things for a long time.
Stepping out of your comfort zone, as we talked about earlier.
It connects with everything we talked about.
Yeah, but thank you
it's like I was
so
here
much.
earlier.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
I think it's valuable information. I hope our listeners really take what you said. And, we keep mentioning the windy wind, but they just take it with strides and, use it to their advantage.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Good
much.
to meet you.
It was really nice meeting you.
It's good to meet you.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you so much, Marc, for coming on the Pioneer Careers podcast. Episode 2, you are amazing to have on.
You provided so much valuable information that I think, students here at Point Park and even the staff and faculty, and maybe, listeners who don't even go to Point Park. They're just, random listeners that we enjoy having listening to us. They're going to take that information and just use it to the best of their advantage.
Yeah.
If you'd like to have your voice heard, maybe you related to something that was discussed, maybe you really enjoyed something Marc, talked about, and you kind of want further information about it or clarification, feel free to email us at careerdev@pointpark.edu. That's careerdev@pointpark.edu.
Yeah.
All
Period.
right. So before we, end the episode today, we're getting into a new tradition. And, something that we're going to keep doing throughout the episode is leaving tips and maybe some strategies for our listeners to use and move forward with.
Yes.
Right? With it being the start of a new school year, it's a transition for a lot of people, staff, faculty, and whatnot. It's kind of tough to get back into the swing of things, don't you think?
Yeah, it is.
So I know last time we had Harvard, provide us with those wonderful tips.
I love Harvard.
Unfortunately, I don't have this from Harvard. I don't know where this is from. It's from unk.edu. I don't know what university that is, but they have a great article on how to get back into the swing of things, the school year or just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Their first tip is start a routine. What do you think about that?
Starting a routine. So starting a routine is important. I think a lot of people kind of tend to just go with the flow and kind of figure it out, which is what you should do. But I think having a routine is a good way to get your day started on the right foot, right?
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you have, in that 8 a.m. class, having that routine in the morning to really, you have to get your coffee. You got to stop at Point Park. Getting yourself up and getting ready for the day, as tough as that is for that 8 a.m. class. Thankfully, I've never had an 8 a.m. class.
I have. It was my acting class that we talked about.
I'm sorry.
I loved it.
Having that routine to really start your day can really set up your day moving forward and your week and possibly your month and your year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a, snowball effect.
I think having a routine is so exciting too because you get to look forward to a new day every day. Remember, every day is a new day.
What is that song? That's a song, isn't it?
Every day is a new day. It's not like put the past in the past, stay in the present moment, get excited, get your routine going, get that coffee, go to class, hang out with your friends, do it all.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But going off the, starting a routine, they also say setting up a calendar.
I love it. That is a top one on my on my list. I love being organized. I love planning, and I love just having everything written down so I know exactly what I'm doing for the day. And it's okay if things come up that I wasn't planning. I love that too. But I love having at least an idea of what my month is going to look like.
Yeah, whether you're a digital planner or, you like those fun little planners that you can find at the mall or Target. I love
I just
Target.
got a really cute one at Target. It was a little expensive, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So here at Point Park, students, you have the luxury of having Outlook. It's a digital calendar. I suggest, personally, I don't know about you, Natalea, but I suggest putting your classes into your calendar so you have your day built out and your week and your semester and whatever you can keep going on with it. But then you're busy during those times and you can start building out, leisure activities around your classes. You can start building out, if you're part of student organizations, those meetings, the different events that you want to attend as well. Use your Outlook calendar to the best of your advantage because it's there for you. It's free. Hello, college students, we love free things.
Love free things.
Put everything in it. It's going to save you a lot in the long run, and you're going to feel so organized.
I love that.
Another thing that this article tells us is this one's funny. Keep your technology charged or have a backup. Speaking of, my phone's at 6%.
My laptop was at 5% coming into this.
So if you use your laptop going in, for classes to take notes, you might want to have that charged. So make sure that's charged. Your phone's charged in case, you use your phone for email. I'm trying to stay professional here, but, if your family needs you, just having that technology charged and it's one thing off your plate that you don't have to keep track of and, make life easy, right?
It's true. And I think we tend to forget to charge our stuff. I mean, I always charge my phone every night, but obviously we were kind of just talking about like the battery health. Some people don't want to plug it in overnight because it ruins your battery,
Me, girl.
which is 100% accurate. So I think planning out like when you're even going to charge your phone or your laptop is key.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
The next thing they say is don't overcommit. And I think that's a huge one because you don't want to load your schedule. you want to make sure using that calendar, scheduling out free time for you.
Yeah.
And, we talked about this last episode, 30 minutes to yourself, having that time for yourself to kind of recollect your thoughts, decompressing possibly after a stressful day.
Yes. I think it's okay to say no to some stuff. I think a lot of us tend to say yes to everything. I think as you start being getting into your junior, senior year, you have a lot of opportunities flying at you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's okay to narrow down the pros and cons of each opportunity. And if you have to say no because you're going to overcommit, then it's okay to say no. That's 100% valid. Don't feel like you have to take every single thing on to be that tip-top student.
I agree. Yeah, because there might be so many things that you want to be in, a part of. But Mark mentioned this earlier. Set those priorities and set the things, or make that list. What do you really want to do? What do you really want?
What do you really want?
What do you really want during your time here at Point Park? What do you really want in life, your career? We don't have to get that deep right now.
What do you want? Do you know what movie that's from?
Yeah.
What do you want?
I feel like I should know.
You should know.
What is it? Tell me.
It was The Notebook.
Oh my!
Remember when he was like,
"Why don't I know
What
that?
do you want?"
Oh my gosh, yes, in the rain or something.
Yeah, when she was leaving.
Oh my gosh,
his
yes.
house.
I need to rewatch that.
And she was about to go back to the fiance.
I can go for a really good rom-com right now.
Mm-hmm. But it's true. What do you really want? Figure that out, and then you can say yes to things, and then you can say no to things.
And you don't have to have it all figured out right now. You don't never have to have it figured out.
You never have to have it all figured out.
Step by step. The last thing they tell us, and this is going to lead into our next episode where we're going to be talking about this, set goals. And Mark mentioned this earlier.
Setting goals. What are goals? Are there short-term, long-term? There's short-term, there's long-term, there's day goals. You can have goals for any point in your life, any second of the day.
Yeah, I would say, I just keep thinking about what Mark said earlier was take 3 minutes, write your goals down, and figure out, which ones are the long term, which ones are the short term, and figure out which ones are attainable too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could write so many goals down. Some might be very long term, not that they're not realistic, but they're not attainable right now. But then you can start planning, steps underneath those goals and really building those out of how to accomplish them. And for the freshmen, write one goal down maybe that you want to accomplish your first semester, whether it's getting out of your comfort zone, it's joining a student organization, whatever it is, whatever your interests are, set a goal for yourself and then move forward with it and then go on to the next goal.
Yeah, I'm all about the steps. I didn't realize that I always had a vision and I always had those steps just naturally come to me without even writing them down. But the last couple months, I've kind of been writing those steps down to get to my end goal. And it helps a lot, just kind of picturing where do you see yourself?
Yeah. Well, Natalea, I think this concludes our second episode. This is
crazy. The second episode.
Well, if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to, whatever you do the episodes on YouTube, if you're watching from YouTube, be sure to subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or whatever your preferred streaming platform is. And we are recording from the Center for Media Innovation at Point Park University. Be sure to leave a comment. Whatever questions you have, feel free to reach out to us. But until then,
thank you so much.
And we'll see you next time or week.
Next week. We'll see ya.
Bye.